How to use the verb ask correctly from EspressoEnglish.net. Ask is one of the most common verbs in English, but there are a number of details to remember when you use it in a sentence. Here are 4 ways to use the English verb ask correctly and one common error. You can ask someone for an object. For example, I asked the teacher for a pencil. I asked her for a glass of water. My son asked for a video game for Christmas. You can also use ask someone for when the thing you want to receive is not a physical object. For example, I asked the teacher for some help with the homework. I'm going to ask my sister for advice. Let's ask the travel agent for information. So use ask for when you want to receive something from another person. Use ask someone about plus a topic. For example, I asked the teacher about the final exam. I asked my colleague about his trip to Portugal. My boss asked me about the project. Let's ask the travel agent about flights to Europe. So use ask someone about when you want to know some information about a particular topic. You can also use the structure ask someone followed by a question word like who, what, when, where, how, and why. For example, I asked my kids who had made the mess in the kitchen. He asked me what I like to do on the weekends. Let's ask when the next showing of the movie is. I asked Jill where she had bought her dress. The hotel receptionist asked me how many nights I would be staying. Have you ever asked him why he doesn't like to travel? So those were some examples of ask someone plus a question word, but you can also use ask someone if for yes or no questions. For example, I asked her if she likes to dance. Let's ask the waitress if there are any lunch specials. The teacher asked the class if everyone had finished the homework. Again, those are all yes or no questions, so we use ask plus if. Finally, you can use ask someone to plus a verb. Use this structure when you want a person to do something or not to do something. For example, my mother asked me to clean my room. I asked my secretary to print out the report. They asked us not to make so much noise in the library. The doctor asked me not to eat for 12 hours before the surgery. So again, to review, ask someone for an object. Ask someone about a topic of discussion. Ask someone plus a question word when you want to report on that question. And ask someone to plus a verb when you want someone to take action or not to take action. Now here's the common error. Never use ask to someone. For example, don't say, I asked to her if she had any plans. The correct sentence is, I asked her if she had any plans. Don't say, let's ask to the teacher our question. The correct sentence is, let's ask the teacher our question. Don't say, he asked to me about my family. The correct sentence is, he asked me about my family. And finally, don't say, I asked to everyone turn off their cell phones during the meeting. The correct sentence is, I asked everyone to turn off their cell phones during the meeting. Do you want to have great grammar in English? My Advanced English Grammar course will help you master the details of the English language, and you can also get feedback on your writing. Click the link in the video for more information or to register. 5 types of verb-verb combinations in English from EspressoEnglish.net. Many students get confused when there are 2 consecutive verbs in a sentence. What form does the second verb take? This lesson will show you 5 types of verb-verb combinations with example sentences. The first structure is verbs plus the ing form. For example, I avoid eating after 10 p.m. She considered studying Spanish but chose to study French instead. I don't mind giving you a ride to the airport. You can see in all of these cases that the second verb takes the ing form. It doesn't matter what form the first verb is in. The second verb always has ing. Here are some more examples. We look forward to hearing from you. After look forward to, we always use the ing form. He regrets losing his temper at the meeting. I recommend visiting Central Park. Verbs that are followed by the ing form include avoid, deny, finish, regret, be used to or get used to, dislike, imagine, risk, can't help, don't mind, look forward to, spend time, can't stand, enjoy, practice, stop, consider, feel like, recommend, and suggest. Now let's look at verbs that are followed by the infinitive, by to plus the verb. For example, he agreed to help me with my homework. The first verb is agreed, and the second verb has to, agreed to help me. We decided to buy a new car. Don't say we decided buy a new car. You need to have to. We decided to buy a new car. I hope to speak English fluently someday. After hope, use to. I hope to speak. You need to do more exercise. They promised to call me back. Bob refused to cooperate with the police. All of these verbs are followed by to when we have another verb after it. Other verbs that take this structure include agree, attempt, claim, decide, deserve, expect, fail, hesitate, hope, learn, manage, need, offer, plan, prepare, pretend, promise, refuse, seem, tend, threaten, try, want, and would like. Some people ask me how you know whether a verb is followed by the ing form or the infinitive, the to form. The answer is that there's really no way to know just by looking at the verb. Unfortunately, you just need to remember each one on an individual basis. The next structure is verbs that are followed by an object and then the to form. For example, I don't allow my kids to watch violent movies. We have the verb allow, and then we have the direct object, my kids, and then we have the to form of the next verb. I don't allow my kids to watch violent movies. Here's another one. The defect caused the machinery to malfunction. The verb is caused, the object is the machinery, and then the next verb takes the to form, to malfunction. This is also the case with the verb convince. My friend convinced me to get a tattoo. He reminded her to take out the trash in the morning. The boss requires all employees to arrive on time. Jennifer told us to bring a jacket. All of these are examples of verbs that are followed by an object, and then the next verb has to. Verbs like this include advise, allow, authorize, cause, challenge, convince, encourage, force, get, hire, inform, instruct, permit, persuade, remind, require, teach, tell, urge, and warn. There are a few verbs in English that can be followed by either the to form or the ing form. For example, start. You can say, the little girl started crying, or the little girl started to cry. These are the same. There's no difference in meaning, and both are correct. Another example is like. For example, you can say, I like reading, or I like to read. They are the same and both are correct. Remember that like can be followed by either reading or to read, but would like can only be followed by to read. So, I like reading, but I would like to read. Verbs that can be followed by both forms include begin, continue, hate, like, love, prefer, remember, start, and try. With hate and remember, there are some slight differences. Use remember plus the to form to remind someone to do something, and use remember plus ing to describe a memory. For example, remember to go to the bank after work. That's a reminder. I'm reminding you or telling you to do that. I remember going to the beach every summer as a child. When I say remember going, I'm describing a memory. With the verb hate, there is also a slight difference. Use hate plus the ing form to describe things you hate in general. And use hate plus the to form to express regret for something you are going to do. Here are some examples. I hate waiting in line. That's something you dislike in general. I hate waiting in line. We use the ing form for things we hate in general. I hate to ask you for money yet again, but could you lend me $10? We say I hate to ask to express regret for something we are going to do. The final structure is verbs plus an object plus the base form of the next verb. For example, the teacher doesn't let us use cell phones during class. We have the verb let, the object us, and then the base form use. Let us use cell phones. Don't say let us to use. It's not correct to use to in this case. Another example is make someone do something. For example, I made my son clean his room. Don't say made my son to clean. That's not correct. I made my son clean his room. Could you help me carry these boxes? Help me carry. It's possible to say help me to carry, but it's more common to say help me carry. The teacher had each student give a presentation. Don't say had each student to give. That's not correct. The teacher had each student give a presentation. So these four verbs are let, make, help, and have, where they can have the verb plus the object plus the base form of the next verb. If you want to get great grammar, check out my Advanced English Grammar course. It has 45 lessons that will teach you all the details of English grammar with lots of practice exercises. Visit espressoenglish.net, click on Courses, and look for Advanced English Grammar. Can you find the English grammar mistakes in these sentences? From espressoenglish.net. In today's lesson, you'll get to test your English grammar skills. Can you find the mistakes in the following sentences? Try to find the mistake, and then in a few seconds I'll tell you the answer and give you the explanation. Let's try it. Number 1. Here's the incorrect sentence. We cleaned all the kitchen while our parents were out to dinner. Can you find the error? It's incorrect to say all the kitchen. The correct sentence is, we cleaned the whole kitchen or the entire kitchen while our parents were out to dinner. We use the word all for plural nouns, like all the students, and for uncountable nouns, like all the furniture. But we don't use all for singular nouns, like kitchen. When you want to talk about 100% of one thing, use the whole or the entire, the whole kitchen, or the entire kitchen. Number 2. Here's the incorrect sentence. If I'm stressed out about something, I tend to have problem to fall asleep. Can you find the mistake? It's incorrect to say, I tend to have problem to fall asleep. It just doesn't sound natural. Instead, you should say, I tend to have trouble falling asleep, or I tend to have a hard time falling asleep. We don't usually use a verb after problem. If you want to talk about the difficult action, use trouble or a hard time, and then the ing form of the verb. That's why we say, I have trouble falling asleep, or I have a hard time falling asleep. Both of those sound more natural than I have problem to fall asleep. Number 3. Here's the incorrect sentence. One of the most important issue is the lack of parking spaces at the local mall. Can you find the mistake? It's incorrect to say one of the most important issue. The correct way is one of the most important issues. Issues is plural. Whenever you use the expression one of, the noun must be plural, but the verb must be singular. For example, one of my friends is sick. One of these eggs was rotten. The subject is one, so that's why the verb is singular. But you are talking about one of many things, one of my friends, or one of these eggs, so the noun, friends, and eggs must be plural. Number 4. Here's the incorrect sentence. If you don't mind, I'd prefer leave early tomorrow. Can you find the mistake? It's incorrect to say, I'd prefer leave. The correct way is, I'd prefer to leave, or I'd prefer leaving. Another correct way to say it is, I'd rather leave. After the word prefer, use to plus the verb, or the ing form. After the word rather, you can use the base form. But you can't use the base form after prefer, so we need to say, I'd prefer to leave, or I'd prefer leaving. Don't say, I'd prefer leave. Number 5. Here's the incorrect sentence. Do you have a few minutes to discuss about this project? Can you find the mistake? It's incorrect to say discuss about. The word discuss is the same as talk about. Therefore, it's not necessary to use about after discuss. So, the correct sentence says, do you have a few minutes to discuss this project? Or to talk about this project? But don't say discuss about. It's not necessary. Number 6. Here's the incorrect sentence. The survey we performed recently showed that most of customers are satisfied. Can you find the mistake? It's incorrect to say most of customers. The correct way is most of the customers, or most of our customers, or most customers. After most of, then you need to have an article like the, most of the customers, or a possessive like my, his, our, etc., most of our customers. However, if you use only most without of, then you don't need anything and you can go straight to the noun. Most customers, most people, most houses. But it's incorrect to say most of customers. Again, you either need to remove the word of or add the word the. Number 7. Here's the incorrect sentence. Although I've known him for a while, I still can't believe how much stubborn he is. Can you find the mistake? It's incorrect to say how much stubborn. The correct way is how stubborn. Before adjectives like stubborn, we use only how. For example, how friendly, how cold, how expensive. Those are all adjectives. We use how much and how many with nouns, objects, places, or people. For example, how much money, how many friends, how much snow. Because stubborn is an adjective, a descriptive word, we use only how stubborn, and not how much. Number 8. Here's the incorrect sentence. This is a very simple procedure. It will take less of 10 minutes. Can you find the mistake? It's incorrect to say less of 10 minutes. The correct form is less than 10 minutes. When comparing two things, we use the word than. For example, the city is bigger than the town. A bike is less expensive than a car. This procedure will take less than 10 minutes. Number 9. Here's the incorrect sentence. I've loved classical music ever since I was child. Can you find the mistake? It's incorrect to say, I was child. Instead, you should say, I was a child, or I was young. When using an adjective like young, you don't need an article. You can say, I was hungry, I'm tired, etc. But when using a noun like child, then you need an article. I was a child. I was a manager. I'm a sports fan, etc. Number 10. Here's the incorrect sentence. Would you like to take part of this activity? Can you find the mistake? It's incorrect to say, take part of this activity. The correct way is take part in this activity. If you take part of something, it means you literally remove a piece of it. For example, he took part of the bread and dipped it in the soup. But the expression take part in means to participate. For example,
I took part in the chess tournament. This question is asking if the person would like to participate in the activity, so we need to say take part in this activity, not take part of.
Some English students are really afraid to make mistakes, but I think mistakes are a good thing. Why? Because you can learn from them. Making mistakes is a natural part of the learning process, and when you get corrected, you are more likely to remember the right way to say it. If you'd like me to correct your written English, then sign up for my Advanced English Grammar course. Every lesson has a writing task where you can send me your text and I'll send you feedback. Click on the link in the video for more information about this course. Common Mistakes in Business English Writing from EspressoEnglish.net. When writing letters and emails for work, it's important to write correctly because mistakes can make your English look unprofessional. In today's lesson, you'll learn how to avoid 10 common mistakes in business English writing. Number 1. I am writing in respect of our recent purchase. Instead, you should write, I am writing in reference to, I am writing with regard to, or I am writing regarding or concerning our recent purchase. All of these options are correct, but you can't use in respect of. Number 2. We would like to regret the delay. Regret means you feel bad for doing something wrong. So you need to say, we regret the delay, or we would like to apologize for the delay. The word assure is followed by a person. It means to help remove the person's doubt. The word insure is followed by a fact. Insure means to help guarantee the fact. So you should write, I assure you that our products are of the highest quality. We have a quality control process to ensure that every item is free from defects. Again, assure is followed by a person, and insure is followed by a fact. Number 4. Your order will be shipped until Wednesday at the latest. When talking about events that will be completed before a certain date in the future, use by for a single specific event and use until for a continuous event. Shipping the order is a single specific event, so we need to use by. Your order will be shipped by Wednesday at the latest. Here's an example of a continuous action where you need to use until. We will be performing maintenance until the 25th. The maintenance will be continuous until stopping on the 25th. Number 5. I would like to request some information about your services. In English, the word information is an uncountable noun, so it is never plural. This means we need to write, I would like to request some information about your services. Number 6. We accept all major credit cards. The word accept, spelled with an A, means to receive willingly, and the word accept, spelled with an E, means to exclude. When speaking, these words are pronounced the same, accept. When writing, we need to make sure to use the correct one. The correct sentence is, we accept, with an A, all major credit cards. Here's an example of accept with an E used correctly. We offer free shipping to every U.S. state except Alaska and Hawaii. This means Alaska and Hawaii are not included in the free shipping offer. Number 7. We appreciate your cooperate. After articles like a, an, and the, and possessives like my, your, his, her, our, and their, always use a noun, not a verb. Cooperate is a verb. So the correct sentence is, we appreciate your cooperation. Cooperation is the noun form of cooperate. Number 8. I want you to send me the files right now. In professional communications, it's important to be polite, especially when making a request, giving an order, or expressing criticism. A better way to write this sentence is, could you please send me the files as soon as possible? The expression, could you, and including the word please, make the sentence sound more polite. Number 9. The conference begins on Friday, July 8th. It will be held in Los Angeles, California. Not using correct capitalization and punctuation makes a very bad impression in professional communications. In English, we capitalize the first word of each sentence, proper names, names of cities, states, countries, and languages, names of days of the week and months, and the word I. So the correct way to write the sentence is like this. The conference begins on Friday, July 8th. It will be held in Los Angeles, California. We capitalize the first word of each new sentence, the day of the week, Friday, the month, July, and the city and state, Los Angeles, California. Number 10. I look forward to hear from you. After the expression look forward to, always use a noun or the ing form of the verb. So the correct sentence is, I look forward to hearing from you. Here are 2 more examples. You can write, I look forward to visiting your company, or I look forward to the visit. In the first case, we use the verb in the ing form, visiting, and in the second case, we use the noun, the visit. Visit espressoenglish.net to take the Business English course, where you can learn practical English for phone calls, interviews, negotiations, meetings, presentations, letters and emails, and more. Thanks for watching. Subject and object questions from espressoenglish.net. First, let's review the concept of a subject and an object. The subject is the person or thing that performs the action. For example, we want some fruit juice. The subject is we. Karen likes Fred. The subject is Karen. Smoking causes cancer. The subject is smoking. Daniel made a sandwich. The subject is Daniel. The earthquake damaged my house. The subject is the earthquake. Jennifer lied to Sam. The subject is Jennifer. And the object is the person or thing that is acted upon or receives the action. For example, we want some fruit juice. The object is fruit juice. Karen likes Fred. The object is Fred. Smoking causes cancer. The object is cancer. Daniel made a sandwich. The object is a sandwich. The earthquake damaged my house. The object is my house. Jennifer lied to Sam. The object is Sam. Most questions in English are object questions. We want to know about the receiver of the action. Object questions follow the Quasm formula: question word, auxiliary verb, subject, and main verb. When asking an object question in the simple present, we use the auxiliary verbs do and does. For example, what do you want to drink? We want some fruit juice. we are asking about the object, fruit juice. Who does Karen like? Karen likes Fred. We are asking about the object of Karen's affection, Fred. This is an object question, so we use the auxiliary verb does. What does smoking cause? Smoking causes cancer. Again, this is an object question. In the simple past, we use the auxiliary verb did with object questions. For example, what did Daniel make? Daniel made a sandwich. We are asking about the object that Daniel made. What did the earthquake damage? The earthquake damaged my house. Who did Jennifer lie to? Jennifer lied to Sam. These are all examples of object questions. We don't know the object, the receiver of the verb, so we ask about it. But sometimes we want to ask about the subject. We don't know the person or thing that performed the action, and we want to find out. This type of question is called a subject question, and subject questions do not use the auxiliary verbs do, does, and did. To form a subject question, use the question word who or what, plus the verb in the simple present or simple past, plus the object. Let's look at some examples. Who wants some fruit juice? We want some fruit juice. This question is asking about the subject, who is taking the action of wanting the fruit juice. So we say who wants. Don't say who does want. That's incorrect. Here's another example. Who likes Fred? Karen likes Fred. We're asking about the subject, so we use the question word who plus the verb in the simple present, likes, and then the object, Fred. Who likes Fred? Karen likes Fred. Here's another example. What causes cancer? Smoking causes cancer. Again, we are asking about the subject, so we don't use an auxiliary verb. Here are some examples of subject questions in the simple past. Who made a sandwich? Daniel made a sandwich. What damaged your house? The earthquake damaged my house. Who lied to Sam? Jennifer lied to Sam. Because all of these questions are asking about the subject, we do not use the auxiliary verb did. In other verb tenses, like present continuous, present perfect, etc., the auxiliary verbs are forms of the verbs be and have. In these verb tenses, we still use the verbs be and have in both subject and object questions. Let's consider the sentence, Paul is washing the car. That's in the present continuous. The subject question would be, who is washing the car? And the object question is, what is Paul washing? Here's an example in the past continuous. The manager was talking about the problem. To make a subject question, we would ask, who was talking about the problem? And to make an object question, we would ask, what was the manager talking about? Let's consider the present perfect. My parents have spent $1,000 on a computer. The subject of that sentence is my parents, and the object is $1,000. To form a subject question, we would ask, who has spent $1,000 on a computer? And to make an object question, we would ask, how much have your parents spent on a computer? It's the same pattern for the present perfect continuous. I have been working on this project. The subject is I, and the object is this project. The subject question would be, who has been working on this project? And the object question would be, what have you been working on? In the future, the auxiliary verb is will, and we use it in both subject and object questions. For example, this textbook will help the students. The subject is this textbook, and the object is the students. So, to form the subject question, ask, what will help the students? And to form the object question, ask, who will this book help? And finally, we can also form the future with going to. For example, we are going to order dessert. The subject is we. To form the subject question, ask, who is going to order dessert? The object of the sentence is dessert. So to form the object question, ask, what are you going to order? When you are going to ask a question in the simple present or simple past using who or what, ask yourself, am I asking about the doer of the action or the receiver of the action? If you're asking about the doer, the subject, then don't use do, does, or did. Ask, who wants fruit juice? Don't ask, who does want fruit juice? Ask, what damaged your house? Don't ask, what did damage your house? If you're asking about the receiver of the action, then you should use do, does, or did in the question. You can click on the link in the video to take a quiz and test yourself on this topic. I hope you found this lesson helpful. One problem is that a lot of English students learn about grammar rules, but they never put them into practice. This leads to having a theoretical knowledge of English, but finding it impossible to use correct English grammar in a practical way. That's why my Advanced English Grammar course includes both quizzes and writing tasks. Not only can you test yourself, but you can also get feedback on how you are using the grammar in practice. Let's practice prepositions from EspressoEnglish.net. How well do you know your English prepositions? Take this quiz to find out. I'll show you a sentence with 3 options for the preposition. Try to choose the right one, and I'll show you the answer after 5 seconds. There are 15 questions in this quiz. Number 1. He gave the presentation, although, despite, or during being ill. The correct answer is despite. He gave the presentation despite being ill. Number 2. I can't drink coffee throughout, within, or without sugar. It's too bitter. The correct answer is without. I can't drink coffee without sugar. It's too bitter. Number 3. I got all the questions right, among, beside, or except the last one. The correct answer is except. I got all the questions right except the last one. Number 4. I want to snack on something salty, as, by, or like potato chips. The correct answer is like. I want to snack on something salty, like potato chips. Number 5. My house is across, close, or near the university. The correct answer is near. My house is near the university. Number 6. Our plans will depend of, on, or with the weather. The correct answer is on. Our plans will depend on the weather. Number 7. She's been to above, beyond, or over 50 countries. The correct answer is over. She's been to over 50 countries. Number 8. The fabric costs $20 by, for, or per meter. The correct answer is per. The fabric costs $20 per meter. Number 9.
The figurine fell away, off, or out the shelf and smashed on the floor. The correct answer is off. The figurine fell off the shelf and smashed on the floor. Number 10. There are cherry trees all along, amidst, or aside the road. The correct answer is along. There are cherry trees all along the road. Number 11. These grapes are sweeter as, of, or than those. The correct answer is than. These grapes are sweeter than those. Number 12. This road will take you straight in, into, or onto the city center. The correct answer is into. This road will take you straight into the city center. Number 13. We must mail the letter by, since, or until Friday. The correct answer is by. We must mail the letter by Friday. Number 14. We watch TV for, from, or since 3 hours. The correct answer is for. We watch TV for 3 hours. Number 15. There were numerous mistakes alongside, beneath, or throughout the article. The correct answer is throughout. There were numerous mistakes throughout the article. If you want to improve the details of your grammar, including prepositions, nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, sentence structure, and much more, check out the Advanced English Grammar course available at espressoenglish.net.
English prepositions after the verb think. The two most common prepositions used after the verb think are about and of. They are very similar, but there is a small difference. Usually, when you think of something, it is a brief moment, just a few seconds. Think of is also used for opinions. When you think about something, you are considering it for a longer time, like a few minutes or more. For example, every time I hear this song, I think of my mother. You think of your mother for just a few seconds. What do you think of my new haircut? In this case, think of is used because it's talking about an opinion. I'm thinking about moving to a different city. Thinking about means considering. I still get angry when I think about all the rude things she said to me. Again, think about is used because you are thinking for a longer time, a few minutes or more. Don't use think to when you are considering something. For example, don't say, I'm thinking to do an intensive English course in Canada. The correct sentence is, I'm thinking about doing an intensive English course in Canada. Think over and think through are used when you need to consider a topic carefully or for a long time, like hours, days, or weeks. For example, I'm not sure which course I want to take. Let me think it over. I'll need some time to think through your proposal. Can I call you back next week? Think ahead and think back. Think ahead means thinking about the future, and think back means thinking about the past. For example, we need to think ahead at least 5 years if we want our company to have long-term success. I like to think back on my college years. That was a great time in my life. Think up is an expression. It means to imagine, invent, or create.
For example, we need to think up a way to distract Laura while we plan her surprise party. I spent a half hour trying to think up a good excuse for why I was late to work. Finally, we have think to. Think to is commonly used in the phrase think to myself when you don't share the thought with anyone else. For example, whenever I'm in a meeting at work, I think to myself, this is a huge waste of time. It means you have the thought in your head, but you don't say it out loud or share it with anyone else. We also have the expression didn't think to. This is used when something didn't even enter your mind. For example, sorry I didn't see your message. I didn't think to check my email before I left the house. Thanks for watching English Tips from Espresso English. If you liked this video, please share it. English prepositions in, inside, into, and within from espressoenglish.net. In and inside are often the same. For example, you can say, we are in the house, or we are inside the house. The clothes are in the closet, or the clothes are inside the closet. Both in and inside are correct in these sentences. The word inside implies that the thing is physically enclosed. It is in a container, like a box, a vehicle, a building with walls, etc. This means that when talking about location, time, being included, or other situations where you are not physically surrounded, you should use in, not inside. For example, I live in Australia. My anniversary is in July. He plays guitar in a band. Into implies movement or transformation. For example, she jumped into the swimming pool. We went into the house. The car crashed into a telephone pole. The caterpillar turned into a butterfly. In all of these sentences, something is moving or being transformed. With some verbs, you can use either into or in. For example, he put the card into his pocket, or in his pocket. I threw the paper cup into the trash, or in the trash. She lost her balance and fell into the river, or in the river. Within means inside the limits. These are non-physical limits like time, distance, or an area of influence. For example, the results will be delivered within 14 days. Most car accidents occur within 5 miles of home. There are many brilliant people within this profession. Because the limits are non-physical, we use within and not inside. We can also use in these sentences. We also have some expressions using within. Within earshot means at a distance where you can hear something, such as a conversation. Within reason means to the degree that good judgment would allow. Within reach and within one's grasp have two meanings. One is literally able to be taken with your hand, and the other meaning is able to be accomplished. This was a free sample from the new ebook 600 Plus Confusing English Words Explained, available at espressoenglish.net. It has more than 200 pages and over 5 hours of audio to help you understand confusing words and use them correctly.